close your eyes, I could see everything all of a sudden.
Welcome to another edition of Crypto with Kamal here on YouTube. I'm your host, Kamal Hubbard, and we're back with RJ McDowell of the REPAR Global Coin Project. And thanks again for rejoining us, RJ. I'm so glad once again to have you here to talk about REPAR, especially in light of our reparations discussions with states, corporations, and other entities. But when it comes specifically to your project, what challenges have you faced in developing and launching the project, and how have you overcome them?
Okay, so one of the biggest challenge is funding, right? And I saw a snippet of what you were discussing on your LinkedIn Live page today, where you talked about, money being, given through capital ventures and things of that nature. One of the things that had myself and my team a little on edge, there's so much around regulation, right? We didn't want to do an initial coin offering because we were told that that was illegal in the United States, that you couldn't do it. So we didn't want to go down that path of doing, a fundraise that had anything to do with crypto. We were told by several attorneys that it was a no-no for us to go that route. So we just didn't do it. Any funding that we received, we got, small grants here and there. But it's been primarily sweat equity and any retirement funds that I had to basically build this project. As a woman, I heard in an interview earlier, she said, you can't pay developers with hugs. Right?
Yeah,
So
that's the truth.
developers have to be paid. And I will say, I had to learn on my own how to become sufficient at some coding, some web design. I just had to do it. Marketing. So some of those things you're kind of like forced into doing it. If you have a passion for a project, you don't let anybody stop you from doing what you want to do. So that's one of the challenges. One of the other challenges that's been a little disheartening for some people in our community. They're just not interested in crypto at all. You try to talk to them about, bank closures. If you look at PNC Bank, for example, Silicon Valley Bank, their banks are closing. If you look in your neighborhoods, you drive down the street, you'll see a lot of empty banks. The world is changing. And I try to get people on board, and I try to talk to some people, and they're just not interested. But that's not going to stop me. I still have hope for those people that are interested. But those are the challenges. Being told that you're not interested, that's definitely an unfortunate challenge. And I don't know if you've had similar conversations with people or made attempts to have conversations. I'm that family member during the holidays where they're like, here she comes. She's going to talk to us about crypto. So
Yeah,
I kind
no.
of, I stop talking to people unless I'm doing something like this. I'm not as willing to be forthcoming with people as much as I used to when I first started. I have to know that someone is in the room because they said, what, crypto? I'm interested. And then they want to engage.
Yeah, I mean, I started out as an evangelist myself, and I, I had those conversations where people are like, I'm not trying to hear this, and
Mhm.
that you get to a point where, to a certain extent, I am now, where it's like, well, you can't save everybody, right?
Exactly.
But the thing in our community is there are some people out there who just don't get exposed to it, you know?
Mhm.
So to a certain extent, yes, I feel like, hey, you can't save everybody, but I'm still out here trying to, even if people aren't interested, at least they know about it, you know?
Yeah. I like I
Because
like I like the fact that you called yourself a crypto evangelist.
oh
That is
well, yeah,
that's
no, that
hilarious.
didn't last long. I actually took that to church one day and didn't go over so well. So I
Yeah,
had to
there are
drop
people,
that
listen,
very quickly and
yeah, there
yeah.
are people who think that crypto is the devil, digital
Oh yeah.
currency is the
I got
devil.
that. I got
I
that.
mean, I had someone call me 6:30 in the morning my time. They live in Italy. A friend of mine who's in the military, and I didn't mention to anyone who wonders what's my background. I'm an Air Force veteran. I have been in the IT technology space for over 23 years. Probably more than that. I'm telling my age, but I worked in government contracting for many government agencies, and a lot of the contracts that came across my desk, were technology based, things that I can't talk about. But yeah, so that's my background, and I try to talk to people. And for me, one of the other challenges, I would be remiss if I forget this. Being a woman and being a woman, a Black woman in this space, I have gone to events in DC. I'm in the Washington, DC area. They have lots of crypto events. They have them at, happy hours, things like that. I show up, I kid you not, I'm the only one in the room. And when I say, hey, my name is RJ, and I start talking about my very own crypto project, they look at me like, are you kidding me? Well, who's really in charge? I had one guy ask me that, who's really in charge? I said, no, it's me. It really is me. I don't have anyone else, pulling my strings. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention, and for listeners, I'm an African American.
Yeah.
But I would, again, like I said, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that was one of the challenges as well.
Well, I need to first off say thank you for your service to this country. And it has got to be so challenging, because I mean, I know it's challenging just being, a founder. I've done it before of color, being black, being a black founder. Let me not say of color, but being a black founder and having that experience of just like you said, you go into rooms, especially when VCs are around, people just don't like they either don't want you there or don't take you seriously.
Yep.
And it's very, very difficult to find the right uh, venture capital entity that wants to welcome you with open arms. You know, I've I've been a part of pitch projects, like, done over 100 pitches, and same thing. People won't respect your NDAs, or they just want to sit there and listen to whatever information they can glean and take to their own projects and
Mm.
all sorts of stuff. So it is very frustrating. And like you said, being a woman, I'm sure it's even worse, where people are either trying to undermine you or discourage you from doing what you do. And I'm also not surprised to hear in DC, when in this space you're the only Black woman there. And so thanks for your courage. Uh, and well, thanks for your service to this country as a military veteran. Thanks for your courage to continue to be strong in Web3 and have a project that you want to create an impact, especially for our community. That's can't say enough for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you for having me on this platform. It's important. It's of the utmost importance because our community has a tendency to wait until something is required of them instead of
Right.
getting ahead of it. And one of the things I just like to let people know, Bitcoin, we talked about it earlier, is approximately $28,000 to $30,000, right? In 2010, it was only 8 cents. 8 cents, people.
Right, right.
And trying to get people to understand that crypto is not a scam. That's the first thing they say. I had a conversation with a young man and I was trying to talk to him about it. He said to me, "Oh, my friend lost $30 million in crypto." And I'm thinking, sir, you did not have a friend that lost 30 million. You did not. I mean, cut it out, but
Yeah.
and the funny, and here's a funny story, and I'll make this quick. I was at one of those conferences and events, and I was having a conversation with uh, a black man that was at the event. I think there were three of us in a room of maybe 200. There may have been three of us, and I was the only female. And I was having a conversation with him, and he began to tell me his apprehension with doing business with some cryptos because he doesn't know who the founder is. He doesn't. Nobody knows who the founder of Bitcoin is, and nobody knows who this founder is. And I said, "Do you have any stocks? Do you invest in the stock market?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Do you know who the founder and owner is of all of the stocks you invest in?" And he made this face. And I was like, "I bet you don't." I said, "That makes absolutely no sense. That basis for your excuse is useless." So people, they make all kinds of excuses. If you don't want to get involved with crypto, I'm not going to force your hand. You just wait until it's required, until the
Right.
government tells you that you have to participate.
Right. Yeah. And I think that kind of goes back to like what I was saying earlier is like when it's required, I would at least want someone to say, okay, hey, this guy was talking about it. So I have some frame of reference. I may not have been paying attention to him, but at least I know what they're talking about. And so, but I think another thing when you talk about Bitcoin and really, when we talk about projects that impact our community is like, well, you know, there's people out there who will who believe in Bitcoin to the extent that it is the value it is today. There's people who believe in Dogecoin that is a meme and
Yep.
has absolutely no utility.
Yep.
But then a project like yours that is trying to do the things you're trying to do, and people are like, well, I don't, this is the power of this technology, right? People,
Exactly.
it's the power of faith and belief, right? And that's the thing about
Yeah.
fiat currencies, right? The reason why fiat currency has value is because the government says it has value. So
Hmm.
what's to stop our community from saying, hey, here's a project that is going to help our community. I believe in it, and I'm going to put some money behind it. And I'm going to believe that I'm not going to get scammed. I'm going to believe it's not going to vanish, or I'm going to believe that it has value because it has value to me. That's really all it takes. But once again, historically, the financial industry, the traditional financial industry has not done right by our community. And that's where those beliefs come from, which once again are well warranted. And so
Hmm.
there's almost like a whole nother gap that needs to be traversed, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you're correct. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. Slow and steady wins the race. Unfortunately, technology is not slow and steady.
Right. I mean, hey, a week in crypto feels like a year sometimes or a month.
Yeah, it
But
is.
and I mean, I know earlier you talked about regulation and the challenges that come with regulation. How do you plan to address potential regulatory issues or changes in regulation that could affect your project in the future?
So one of the things, we have an attorney, our general counsel, Mr. Toppin. He is one of those attorneys who went through the process. I think he started out he may have been a real estate attorney. And then years ago, he started going through the process of making sure that he got certified in crypto. So he went through the whole, I believe it was the MIT certification process and learning the foundation of crypto and everything that goes along with it. And he has recently moved to a new law firm where he has a larger umbrella of attorneys in the Philadelphia area, where they're paying close attention to this. They're paying close attention to the governance and things that are taking place in Washington, D.C. And one of the telltale signs will be when the SEC case between Ripple ends and there's a decision that's going to be made. That is going to affect everyone in the crypto community, and we're all waiting to find out what's going to happen with that. So we're fortunate enough to we have weekly meetings to find out, hey, there's certain things I can't say. I can't make promises. I don't tell people to invest. We went through the process of the Howey test, and we ripped our white paper apart. That's one of the other things I like to tell people. If you're going to get involved or invest in crypto, read their white paper. Their white paper should be available on their website. Read that. And the Howey test should be attached to it. A lot of these tokens are not. They don't have this information available. Meme coins, Dogecoin, for example. This stuff is just not available, and people are just hopping on a bandwagon of what they think is going to be the next big thing, instead of really taking a look at, what's this project all about?
Yeah, I mean, the regulatory landscape is so difficult right now as it ever has been, right?
We're
And so,
behind.
what was that?
The United States is behind.
Yeah, we are behind, and unfortunately, it's stifling innovation, and that's sad from one perspective. And yes, my project spent quite a lot of money trying to do compliance, and we met with different officials at different agencies and the federal level as well as the state level. And those conversations, we were seeking guidance. However, they were asking more questions of us in terms of what the technology was and how it works than we were getting our questions answered from them in terms of getting regulatory guidance. And at that point, I was just like, you know what, we should really just focus more on the technology and marketing rather than compliance, even though we put compliance first. And at the time, it just led us down a path of just burning more money because they couldn't answer our questions, and they didn't know any better than we did, which was
they don't know. They still don't know. And here's something funny, right? So one of the things is kind of like in crypto, if you pay attention, it's like a soap opera, right? I don't know, her name is escaping me right now, but you know who the former Department of Treasury, the Rosie Rios is her name. If you look at a $10, $20 bill and you take a look at it, there's a signature on it. That signature was Rosie Rios. She was basically I don't know what her official title was, but she signed the dollar bills. That's her signature. She left the government. Guess where she works?
Coinbase?
No, Ripple.
Binance? Ripple. Okay.
She works at Ripple. And if you go to their website, you will see all the former government officials that work at XRP now. That's very telling.
Yeah, very much so. I completely agree. And in fact, Ripple has obviously been in that ongoing battle with the SEC, right? So you have people who are formerly government officials who are now on Ripple's legal team and, executive team, but they're saying it's costing Ripple almost $200 million.
I'm sure.
To mount that legal battle. And that's a whole nother discussion because, oh my God, that is...
I have a question for you. I have been focused on my own project. And
that's fine.
There are some things that I have not paid attention to. Yeah. Did Gary Gensler get fired?
As far as I know, he's still in place. I know there was that hearing that he was a part of where he just didn't have a good showing, and a lot of the Republican members of the Finance Committee just really tore him to shreds. And I think he may have been considering it, but I did not see a headline of him stepping down or getting
Yeah,
fired.
I had heard some mumblings, but I didn't really pay attention to it. And for those listening, Gary Gensler, his official title is escaping me right now, but he's in charge at the SEC right now.
Yeah, he's
Um,
chair.
he's the chair, yeah. And he was involved in some questionable antics. And he is the one who brought the lawsuit. Actually, no, he's not the original person who brought the lawsuit. The original person who brought the lawsuit against Ripple is not with the SEC anymore, but Gary Gensler picked up the baton and decided to finish taking it to Ripple, or trying to anyhow.
Yeah,
But yeah.
as far as I know, he's still chair there. But
Mhm.
once again, there's been some scandalous, I don't even know scandalous, but dubious or questionable ties to uh, Sam Bankman-Fried. And then I don't know
Mhm.
if you heard that story about him loosely promoting Algorand prior to his stint at the SEC, and so yeah, it
He
was
was
a very
healing,
funny
huh?
story. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and meanwhile, Tom Brady and Shaq and Steph Curry are saying, "Hey, what's the difference between him and us?" Which, to a certain extent is a good question. So, that aside, I also wanted to ask you, just to kind of trying to close things out here, what advice would you have for others looking to get involved in crypto that haven't made the leap yet?
Okay, so my first thing is, I recommend that you do your own research. I had a woman reach out to me, like I said, at 6:30 in the morning. They called and they wanted to discuss. They're calling from Italy. They wanted to talk to me at 6:30 in the morning. She said there was a man that was saying that he could take her money and invest it in Bitcoin for her. And I said this to her. I said, if you went to a casino and someone walked up to you and said, hey, give me $1,000, I'm going to go play this money at the craps table for you, would you let them do it? No. I said, with crypto, you have to have a public key and a private key. You never share your private key. No keys, no crypto. I said, do your own research, get a crypto wallet, keep your private key as secure as possible. Don't share it with anyone. Um, do put it somewhere in a will or somewhere where someone can get a hold of it in the event something happens to you. But do your own research and look into the details of a crypto to find out what is the utility of the crypto. Do they have a white paper? Um, is the founder someone that you can actually find? Are they available somewhere? Are they on LinkedIn? Are they on any social media platforms? Have you ever heard them speak? Those are important. You can tell pretty quickly those types of projects that are looking to make money quickly and then disappear. But that's my advice to anyone that wants to get into crypto. And my other advice is to follow Repar Global Coin on Instagram, and then also follow us on YouTube. And that's also Melanin E-commerce is our platform where we are the home of the Repar Global Coin.
Awesome, awesome. We'll make sure that people can find those links in the description. And yeah, that's so important for people to do their own research. A lot of people who are new, they're like, well, I don't know what that means. Like, I'm new, I'm here, people are talking about a coin, I buy it, I lost money, and then they tell me to do my own research. And that gets people out really discouraged and mad about this sometimes, but
Well,
it's so crucial.
I will say this really quickly. So there are a couple of tokens, and I have a T-shirt that I designed myself. I can show this to you. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this?
Mhm.
Okay, you
Yep.
can see it, but the listeners can't. But they can see it on Melanin E-commerce. The
Ah,
shirt says, "If you know, you know." Right? And what I've done is I've put some of the ISO, right? The ISO 222, that's
Okay.
basically a membership, right?
Uh-huh.
Of financial standards for the banking system.
Right.
These are native tokens that are already involved with the
Mm-hmm.
payment rails behind the
Right.
scenes of
Mm-hmm.
digital currencies globally, the
Right.
CBDCs, right? Central
Mm-hmm.
bank digital currencies. You're going to hear about it. It's going to become a requirement
Yeah.
in other countries as well as this one, right? So on
Sure.
this t-shirt, I just have some of the top tokens. So I have XRP, which is also Ripple. I have XLM, which is also Stellar Lumens. This weird looking H, it's for HBAR, XDC. This one is Quant, and then I have Algorand, right? So each of these tokens are involved behind the scenes with payment rails, and they have real utility for digital assets. That's all, that's those tokens alone. I'm going to say them again. XRP, XLM, HBAR, XDC, Quant, and Algorand. Start with those, look them up, read their white papers. A lot of the individuals who started those projects came from MIT. I want to say for at least 4 or 5 of them. XRP and XLM, they have a relationship because the founder of XRP Ripple, the co-founder, I should say, is also the founder of XLM. So they have a relationship. And these people have been around in the crypto space for a very long time. They didn't disappear. It's not like they created this and then no one knows where to find them. So those tokens have real utility in digital assets. So I like to share that. And by way of Stellar is REPAR, which is our token. Yeah, so that's my advice.
Well, awesome. Definitely, folks, check into those projects. Look into the documentation in particular, and then, do some fundamental as well as technical analysis. If you get the chance, don't just buy them to buy them, but understand why you're buying them and understand why other people are buying them. Understand the technology behind them and what the use case is. And hopefully that will help you come to a more informed decision. And, you become a long-term investor. I mean, I think it kind of goes into our previous discussion. It seems like you're looking for growth opportunities in crypto, and I'm looking for more long-term diversification as well as growth opportunities too. But I'm a believer in the space, and I do what I can. Can't retire just yet, but I'm just
Yeah,
trying to grow some momentum in all this, and along the way bring some people with me. So thanks for joining the show and helping just our community with your project. And I'll let you have the last word here, RJ.
okay. All right. And thank you again. Like I said, thank you for having us. For your listeners, thank you for taking the time to listen to what we had to say. If you guys have additional questions about what you've heard today, feel free to reach out directly to Kamal. I don't know if you have an email address that's part of this program, or you can reach out to me on any of the social media platforms or from our website, and we'd be happy to answer any questions. Our white paper is available for you to read. We actually should call it a black paper. We made our white paper black. Our colors are black and gold. And that's basically it. And I hope that this information was practical, that you could understand it, and that we didn't, use terminology that was too far out there. But again, we're here to talk about it, and any questions that you have, again, you'll be able to follow us on social media platforms or our website. And that's it. I thank you again.
All right. Well, thank you, RJ. And for all of you listening, wherever you may be, don't just make it a good day, make it a great day with crypto with Kamal. And I will catch you on the next one.